All right, welcome everyone. Today we're diving into something pretty incredible, the world's 10 most expensive restaurant.
Ooh, sounds fancy.
Oh yeah, this is going to be fun. We're using an article from 10mosttoday.com as our guide, and you know what? It's not just about the price tags here.
Right.
It's about the experiences, the artistry, the whole shebang.
Yeah, what makes these places so unique and sought after? I mean, these restaurants are almost like destinations in themselves.
Exactly. Okay, so let's start in the heart of Paris, shall we?
Ooh, Paris.
Alain Ducasse or Plaza Athénée.
I've heard of it.
This is like the epitome of opulence from what I've read.
Yeah.
White, gold, crystal chandeliers everywhere.
Wow. Sounds dreamy.
Right, like stepping into a fairy tale. But
There's a
a
but.
fairy tale with a hefty price tag.
I was going to say, fairy tales don't usually come cheap.
That's true. So a 5-course meal here is going to set you back around €395.
Okay.
Individual dishes can be around 195 a week.
All right, that's getting up there.
Yeah, so not your everyday kind of place.
Well, it makes sense, though, when you consider Alain Ducasse.
Yeah.
He's super well known.
Oh, yeah.
He's got this whole naturalness cuisine thing going on.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So it's all about really high quality vegetables, like the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
And they try to use less meat, less sugar, less fat overall.
Huh. So it's not just about the fancy setting, but also a really specific way of cooking.
Exactly. It's a philosophy. And when you factor in the sourcing of all those top-notch ingredients the price starts to make a bit more sense.
That's a really good point. All right, so we've had a taste of Paris. Now let's hop over to New York City.
Oh, the Big Apple.
Chef's Table at Brooklyn Fair. This one is notorious for being hard to get into.
Oh, yeah. The waiting list is insane. Months long.
It's serious.
Seriously. But, it's interesting.
What's that?
Because of the pandemic, there are actually more ways to experience their food now.
Really?
Yeah. Services like Caviar, they offer some of their dishes and wines.
So you can kind of get a preview without the months-long wait.
Exactly. It's not going to be the full experience, of course, and it's still going to cost you, but it's a bit more accessible now.
That's pretty cool. So their tasting menu, it's still a pretty penny though, right?
Oh, yeah. $394.36 without drinks.
Ugh.
And they're really big on seafood.
Seafood. You know what I'm noticing?
What's that?
This focus on top-tier ingredients, it seems like a trend with these high-end places.
Oh, definitely. Fresh, seasonal, often rare ingredients, they're a huge part of what you're paying for.
Makes you appreciate the level of care and attention that goes into each dish.
For sure. All right, ready for another stop?
Absolutely. Where are we off to now?
California wine country, specifically the French Laundry in Yountville.
Ooh. This one sounds idyllic.
It's all about farm-to-table dining at its best. Chef Thomas Keller, he's a legend when it comes to sourcing locally and seasonally.
I've heard that name before. He's pretty famous, right?
Oh, yeah, he's one of the greats.
Yeah.
His dedication to fresh ingredients is reflected in their chef's tasting menu.
How much are we talking?
$350.
Wow, so you're paying for the experience, the story behind the food.
The whole package. And the sustainability, supporting local farms, it all adds up. All right, back to Paris for a moment.
Ooh, more Paris.
Restaurant Le Maurice. This one's
This one's interesting
interesting. How?
because it's this blend of historical opulence and modern design.
Like a clash of styles.
No, not a clash. It's more like a really cool juxtaposition. You have these grand chandeliers, vintage mirrors, frescoes on the walls.
Wow, sounds fancy.
But then you also have these modern touches like water sculptures and space-age chairs.
So it's like old world charm meets futuristic vibes.
Exactly. It's pretty unique. And their dinner menus kind of reflect that too.
How so?
Well, they have a range from 289 to 370 was. So different levels of extravagance even within the same restaurant.
That's pretty cool, like choosing your own adventure in fine dining.
I like that. Choosing your own adventure. Okay, ready for Switzerland?
Let's do it.
All right, we're going to Restaurant de l'Hôtel de Ville in Crissier.
Never heard of it. Well, get ready for some exquisite Swiss cuisine.
Ooh, now I'm intrigued. What's special about Swiss cuisine?
It's all about precision, quality ingredients, and a focus on regional specialties.
Yeah.
And this restaurant, they do it all beautifully.
Okay, so what's the damage price-wise?
Well, it's actually kind of cool. They have a more approachable option at 60 Swiss francs.
That's around $68, right?
Yeah, something like that. So if you just want to get a taste of what they're about, that's a good option.
That's actually pretty reasonable compared to the others we've talked about.
Right. But if you're going all out, their multi-course menu starts at 390 Swiss francs.
So about $440.
Yep. So even in these super high-end places, there's sometimes a way to dip your toes in without breaking the bank.
That's good to know. All right, back to the U.S. now.
Vegas, baby.
Oh, yeah, Vegas Guy Savoy.
One of the biggest names in culinary luxury.
So I imagine it's not exactly cheap.
Not exactly. They have a few different options, each with its own price point.
Like what?
So their a la carte menu, that starts at $125.
Oh, okay. That's not too crazy.
Right. Compared to some of the others, it's almost reasonable. But then they also have a main menu with premium wine pairings.
All right. How much is that one?
$555.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Starting to get back into those high roller numbers.
Exactly. But wait, there's more. The pinnacle of indulgence. The Krug Chef's Table Experience.
Ooh, la la. What's that entail?
10 courses, each one paired perfectly with Krug champagne.
Whoa, talk about a symphony of flavors.
It's the ultimate fine dining experience. You're talking $650 for this one.
That's a lot of dough for one meal.
It is. But you're paying to the best of the best, the chef's expertise, the perfect wine pairings.
All right, I'm sold. Now, prepare to have your mind blown.
Where are we going?
Itha Undersea Restaurant in the Maldives.
Undersea. Like underwater.
You got it. This restaurant is 16 feet below sea level.
Seriously.
Imagine dining with fish swimming all around you.
Whoa, that's next level. I've never even heard of anything like that.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's not just a meal, it's a whole experience.
You're paying for the view, the engineering, the whole shebang.
And of course, the food too. So lunch is $220, dinner bumps up to $330.
I bet the under the sea premium's a big part of that.
I'm sure it is. Okay, next up, we're heading to Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, I love that city.
The Krug Room at the Mandarin Oriental Hotel.
Oh, the Mandarin Oriental, very posh.
This place is all about sophistication, seafood, meat, and of course,
Krug champagne.
you know it.
Yeah.
So they have different menus ranging from $375 to $760 for 6 guests.
So you're paying for the food, the drinks, the atmosphere, the view of Hong Kong.
The whole experience, basically.
Yep, all right, to next.
Back to Paris, one last time.
Lucky S.
Le Prix Catalan, home of Chef Frédéric Anton.
I've heard of him.
He's like a culinary magician.
Yep.
The article mentions dishes like langoustine ravioli with gold leaf jelly.
Oh, that sounds decadent.
Right. This is 8-course meal territory, pure artistry on a plate.
And how much does a work of art like that cost?
€290, or about $336.
All right, that's a splurge. But hey, it's art you can eat.
Exactly. All right, last stop on our whirlwind tour.
Where are we ending up?
Kyoto, Japan Kicho Arashiyama Honten.
Oh, I've heard of that one. It's super popular right now, especially with everyone traveling again after the pandemic.
Yeah, it's one of those places that's on everyone's bucket list.
Makes sense. Japanese cuisine is amazing. It's all about those delicate flavors, the beautiful presentation, the freshest ingredients.
So how pricey are we talking?
They have 4 different menus ranging from $375 to $565.
Okay, so not the cheapest.
And with taxes and fees, you could be looking at $754.
Wow, it's a lot. But you know what? I kind of get it.
Yeah.
These restaurants, they're not just about filling your stomach. They're about the whole experience, the cultural significance, the artistry.
I completely agree. So we've seen a pretty wide range of culinary experiences here, each one with its own unique story and price tag.
Yeah, and it's really made me think about what makes something worth that kind of cost.
Right. What are we actually valuing when we splurge on something like this?
Well, that's something we'll be exploring more in the next part of our deep dive. Stay tuned.
You know, talking about all these crazy expensive restaurants, it really makes you think about, like, why?
Yeah, why would anyone spend that much on one meal?
Right. Like you said, you can get amazing food for way less.
So what makes these places so special?
Well, I think it's a bunch of things, you know?
Okay, like what?
Well, for some people, it's definitely about status, showing off a little bit.
The I can afford this factor.
Exactly. It's like a way to signal your wealth, you know?
Yeah.
Like belonging to this exclusive club.
A culinary VIP section.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Something like that. And these restaurants, they totally play into that.
How so?
I mean, think about it. They have limited seating, those impossible reservation lists. The service is like over-the-top attentive.
So it's all about making you feel like you're part of something super exclusive.
Exactly. But it can't just be about the show, right? The food has to be incredible, too.
Oh, yeah. For those prices, it better be mind-blowing.
Right. And it usually is. These chefs are like the rock stars of the culinary world.
So they're not just cooking, they're like creating art.
Totally. I was looking at some pictures of the dishes from these restaurants, and wow.
They look too pretty to eat, right?
Seriously. It's like edible sculptures.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a big part of what people are paying for.
So it's not just about the taste, it's the presentation, the whole experience.
Absolutely. It's about engaging all your senses.
Ah.
You know, it's like a performance on your plate.
Yeah, it's like you're eating a memory.
Exactly. And for some people, that's worth the price tag.
Okay, but let's be real here. Most people can't drop thousands of dollars on one meal.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
So how can we take this appreciation for like really good food and bring it into our everyday lives?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, you don't need a Michelin star chef to cook a delicious meal, right?
True.
It's about being thoughtful, about the ingredients we use, supporting local farmers, and just experimenting in our own kitchens.
So, like, taking that same level of care and attention that these chefs do.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not plating things like works of art, but we can
Yeah.
still make meals that are both delicious and meaningful. And hey, you never know. Maybe someday we'll be able to splurge on one of those crazy meals ourselves.
Or a special occasion or something.
Exactly. Speaking of splurging,
Oh.
we haven't even talked about the wine pairings at these places.
Oh my gosh, the wine. I can only imagine.
It's got to be another level of expertise, right?
Seriously, pairing the perfect wine with each dish, that's an art in itself.
Makes you appreciate the sommelier's job even more.
Totally.
Yeah.
They have to know so much about wine, all the different regions, the flavors, how it all interacts with the food.
Yeah, it's like a whole other dimension to the meal.
And you know what? It really shows how even something like a glass of wine, it can become something so much more when it's paired just right.
You know what else I've been thinking about?
What's that?
The service at these restaurants, I bet it's phenomenal.
Oh, it has to be, right?
It's not just about bringing the food and taking the plates away. It's got to be like a performance in itself.
Absolutely. Like a perfectly choreographed dance. They're anticipating your every need, making you feel like royalty.
And that personal attention, that's something we don't get a lot of these days.
True. It's a luxury to be able to just relax and enjoy the moment without worrying about anything.
And that's probably a big part of what you're paying for, too.
Totally. It all adds up to create this like really special, unforgettable experience.
So it's not just the food, the wine, the atmosphere, it's everything together.
It's like a symphony where all the different parts come together to create this amazing harmonious whole.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
Even though most of us will probably never eat at these places, I feel like there's something we can learn from them.
Totally. Like what?
Well, it's like we were saying before, it's about being mindful and intentional.
Whether you're cooking a fancy meal or just having a simple snack, it's about taking the time to appreciate it.
To savor the moment, to really enjoy it.
And maybe even to create a little bit of that luxury for ourselves.
Yeah, even if it's just in our own kitchens.
Exactly. So as we kind of wrap up this part of our conversation,
Yeah.
there's one thing we should probably mention about the article we're using.
Oh, right. Good point.
You know, it was published a while ago, so some things might have changed.
Like the prices might be different now.
Yeah, or some of the restaurants might have even closed.
It's true. Things change all the time, especially in the food world.
Exactly. So if anyone's really serious about visiting one of these places,
They should definitely do some extra research.
absolutely. Check their websites, read some recent reviews, maybe even call them to double-check everything.
Good advice. So, as we head into the final part of our deep dive,
What should people be thinking about?
well, I think the main takeaway is that this world of luxury dining, it's constantly changing.
New restaurants are opening, trends are shifting, and chefs are always pushing the boundaries.
So it's a pretty exciting time to be a foodie, even if we can't afford those crazy expensive meals. It's crazy how we started talking about expensive food and now we're like philosophers of fine dining.
Right. It's more than just like a meal. It's a whole experience.
Okay, so let's say someone listening is thinking, all right, I want to try one of these places.
Yeah.
What advice would you give them?
Well, first off, do your research. Don't just pick a place because it's expensive or famous, you know.
Right.
Look into the chef. What kind of food do they make? Where do their ingredients come from? Like, find a place that really speaks to you.
Yeah, it's like planning a vacation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You wouldn't just book a random flight. You want to know what you're getting into.
So once you've picked a restaurant, then what?
Okay, this is important. Be present.
Yeah.
Don't just go through the motions, you know.
Like actually savor every bite.
Yes. Talk to the sommelier. Ask questions about the food. Really take it all in.
It's like the difference between just watching a movie and like really analyzing it.
Totally. You get so much more out of it when you're engaged.
And you know what? Take pictures if you can.
Oh, yeah, good idea.
Jot down some notes about the flavors, the textures. It's like creating a food journal.
I love that. It's like a souvenir of the
Wow.
experience.
Okay, but remember how we said that article might not be totally up to date?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Things change so fast in the restaurant world.
So prices might be different, menus might have changed.
Maybe a chef moved to a different restaurant.
Even some of these places might have closed down.
It happens. So, yeah, do some updated research before you make any reservations.
Absolutely. Okay, well, this has been quite a journey.
It has. I'm feeling kind of hungry now, actually.
Me too.
Hmm.
Even though I probably won't be eating at any of these places anytime soon,
Huh, same.
I feel like I've learned so much about food and what makes a dining experience truly special.
I think that's the biggest takeaway, right? It's not about the price tag, it's about the value
Yeah, the value of the experience, the ingredients, the artistry.
and the passion. These chefs, they really care about what they do.
So whether you're eating at a fancy restaurant or just cooking at home,
Remember to savor every bite.
explore new flavors, support your local food scene.
And most importantly, have fun.
That's what it's all about. All right, everyone, thanks for joining us on this delicious deep dive into the world of luxury dining. Until next time.